Welcome back to Absolute Neanima, the series that's supposed to be Absolute Neanima, but is just a vehicle for me to rant about things. And today, we're doing the first thing, actually. That's right, we're actually going to be doing core cinema nights again for the first time in a while, since Dorothy, I think. And today, it's with the founding member of the Rhodes Island Film Lovers Club, Lava. No, not that one. What do you expect me to say about this anyway? No, we are talking about Purgatory, and no, not the one written by Dante's Alighieri, the operator Purgatory. Although, not gonna lie, this kit makes me feel like I'm in Purgatory at times. I think I'm losing the course of this video, so let's just talk about the cinephile already. Here's a contradictory statement to start us off with. I hate splashcasters, but I love Purgatory. I know that's a hard pill to swallow when the person saying this has built this many splashcasters, but trust me when I say I only like the Mod Y splashcasters. Ones that are not crippled by a stupid mana system anyway. Basically, I think the effort put into designing more splashcasters is only a waste of effort when we already made a good one already in the form of Purgatory, at least on paper, that is. If I'm to put some of my conclusion talk in this space, I think splashcasters are in an innately bad space right now, and it really just comes down to the module system. There's a lot of innate problems that can be solved if they just redid their approach to the module system, and the reason I think Purgatory is at least the best designed one on paper is because she feels like the one that best adapted to the current system. This is something I'm hoping to highlight as we go through this video with my usual cope takes and pretentious analysis of a very mid splashcaster, but don't worry, if I don't do a good job of that, I'll just spell it all out in the end anyway. Shall we start with her talent then? Since she is a welfare, I'm just going to use her welfare version for this, so spell formation is actually a cool talent on paper. On her first deployment, she will immediately gain 35 SP and 5 SP to other casters already deployed. This last part is weird now, but I'm guessing by the wording, this also gives 5 SP to when casters are deployed as well, if Lava is already still on the field. Basically, she makes herself the backbone of any caster-heavy team comp by being an SP berry, and the talent basically also means she's ready to fire off when she drops, making her a heli drop in the same aspect as Chen or Dreadnoughts, and I think that's the best way for a splashcaster to work in this day and age. If they're going to insist on being expensive, especially with Mod X, then let's build around it, and Purgatory is that approach. This is why she's the only member I can at least justify giving Mod X to, because a Mod Y won't be as beneficial, I guess. That said, maybe not giving her the Mod 3 on this module if you can help it. Look, Mod 3 is only adding an extra 5 SP to her first deployment, so a Mod 1 is ideal for her because that one actually helps out a lot when you're using her key skill of S2, which we'll get to. Let's bring up Mod Y though, because I think there is an argument for Mod Y just being better for her. While Mod X makes using her S2 a little less awkward, -8 DP would also just make her far more viable to drop earlier, which then helps with the main purpose of splashcasters. They deal with mass groups of chaff units, so your core and mech core casters can focus on more threatening elites. The thing is, I would argue only her S1 feels like is designed for that original purpose, as her S2 feels more like a boss killing skill, which then would once again incentivize a heli drop playstyle, as she would want to be deployed later on into a mission for when the boss wanders into your setup, and Purgatory comes in, instantly applying her S2 while providing a quick barrier to the rest of your casters so they can start wailing on the boss too. Basically, I think this talent and module was designed well with Purgatory in mind, so it's up to the skills to carry the rest of the way now. Next up is her first skill, Flame Quench Dagger, which is where I think we falter a little. Maybe not a little, maybe more mildly. Basically, we get a minor attack buff, an extra tile of range, and the ability to attack to 2 targets at once. And when I say minor, I mean fucking minor. 14 fucking % at skill level 7, and N3 is only bringing up to 20%, which I know the cope answer here is that, well, you could just hit by 2 attacks, but actually that's not a good cope. A sensible cope here, because if there's 1 target in range, that's effectively doubling your damage against them. Now it's not just being held back by, splash caster attack intervals of 2.9 seconds, which is fucking miserable. This is why Whip Razor kind of works around the problem by triple stacking her AoE and adding a dot to it, because while it does take longer due to skill durations, waiting every 2.9 seconds to double stack a very minor buff doesn't seem that good on paper. Also, I should mention, I know that with Razor's targets, well, she can't triple cast the same thing on the same target, but at least the AoE gives them overlap, so there's that at least. It's still very situational, but you get the point. I think it's fine. It does have a real use. It's in IS, because IS is the game mode of Band-Aid fixes. You name it, we have it in IS. Band-Aid fixes for summoners, specific modules to make your terrible favorite operators have a niche, and for our friend Lava here, we got a few. It's just Toy and Chalice, which gives you attack speed for every 5 ingots you hold. But the thing with these relics is just, they aren't splash caster specific, and there's like so many much better picks for 5-star caster pick to go with these relics. My personal favorite being Delphine. Look though, if you like Lava Altar and get this relic in IS, then Recruiter, because IS is the only place where this skill is going to be remotely worthwhile using. If you want your splash caster coping, you think you're getting this video? Well, here it is. I think Ring of Hellfire is a fine skill, as it puts the co-op DPS view I brought up in Skyfire's video to the test. Basically, Lava will start channeling a Ring of Hellfire around her and the ally in range with the highest HP, dealing a percentage of her attack every second, and this skill goes on forever. Like, provided both Lava and the target stays alive, this skill will channel for like 36 seconds at skill level 7 or 40 seconds at M3. And yes, the numbers can be pitiful for a dot, with it only hitting its real breakpoint at M3 of 50% per second tick. Yes, 40 ticks of a high attack caster like Lava will go hard over time, but this is the key problem of Dot, the time to kill. Yes, it has high damage potential, but to reach its damage potential, you basically need to marinate the enemy in the Dot sauce like they're a juicy piece of meat. It's good against chaff at least, but for me, this skill is the perfect co-op skill still. Like, you have ways to amp it up thanks to Keener Man and Skyfire if you want to, having a synergy that sucks your DP dry for a mid payoff, but realistically, this skill is more of a support skill you can use with a more tankier DPS like you, or PP, or Hoshi, Alta, and we see how things start to tie in with each other, right? Like, considering with a full module, M3, and a pot version of the talent, this skill will be able to be instantly cast itself upon drop. That mod X tile range increase makes lining up with your ideal co-op partner easier. The SP on drop gives your other casters pretty much raises 5 seconds of their downtime from their opponent's skills, and Hellfire comes in as a way to control any incoming non-importance while taking away at the main threat while your tanky DPS does the heavy lifting. I hope I painted a very exciting piece there for you copers, because that's how I envisioned how Hyperglyph wanted Purgatory to be used. Quick question though, why do people still hate her? Here's the real rub with this video. Purgatory is great on paper. You can see the vision they had here, which is a supportive heli drop caster who can fit comfortably into any team that is heavy on caster use, and heli drop operators can work outside of a non-fast deploy role. Take the latest Perfumer Alta, for example, who is a heli drop healer and sanctuary applier. Purgatory on paper is a great co-op DPS just like Skyfire, but that's the problem. This is all on paper, and you know what to say about paper? Paper is very easy to burn. Wait, no, that's not how the saying goes. I meant, just because it works on paper, that doesn't mean it works in practice. And it's simply being held back by the asking price, and I do not mean the level of investment of Razor to the point of viability, although that can definitely be a factor for some people. It's the DP cost. I think the base cost of Purgatory is too much. Even if you have like a stockpile DP to sit on after you finish your setup, there's still, well, cheaper and more viable options to use as your finishing touch in a setup like this, because there's like no reason to actually use her for those incentives. Like, Elemental Entry actually got this right by initially forcing you to make your fellow primal operators work together before they decide that their 6 stars work solo, unless your name is Blaze Altar, but we don't talk about Blaze Altar. Look, Purgatory doesn't have as have such incentive as them to make you use her like the way I want, like, described you can use her. Because at the end of the day, she's just like a really middling DPS with some supportive qualities. Qualities I can find on any other DPS at a much cheaper price. And this is brings me to my ultimate problem. The damn fucking module system. Like, I hate how this module system has kind of warped operator design around it, and has kind of also posthumously ruined older operators. Like, does Cold Shot ring a bell? Or maybe even Aurora? Like, we got unlucky, like luckier with recent class module releases, because I can't imagine a world where Techno got Mod X over Mod Y, as there feels like there's an actual effort now being made into making modules feel like a quality of life update rather than a mandatory requirement. But that's the problem with Splashcasters. The Mod Y is so essential, so when you release a Splashcaster with a Mod X, they are effectively written off immediately. You can laugh at me for saying this, but like, name me one Splashcaster who was released post these modules release that came out with Mod X as base kit. Like, we go on these modules in Guide Ahead, and since Guide Ahead, they've given us 3 Splashcasters: Centella, Marcelie, and Vip Phaser, all Mod Y users on launch. You see my point now, right? Mod Y should be base kit because it's so damn essential to the functioning of this class that even Hyperglyph agrees with me. And I know there's going to be like some contrarian in the comments saying something like, "Oh, by that logic, then Trapmaster Mod X and Artificer Mod X should be like base kit as well then." Because that's what happened on the scene video, which is, a valid point, even if I frame it like a negative thing. But I would say that that's just quality of life and not actually needed for the functionality. Like, I think there's definitely a discussion that needs to happen outlining the different tiers of module traits and just where they kind of fit in. But that's not what this video is for. Like, this video is about how Lava suffers because she was designed for Mod X, when realistically she should have gone Mod Y, and how this logic pretty much applies to a lot of Mod X Splashcasters, and that Mod Y Splashcasters are effectively eating up module blocks just to be considered to be deployed in the first place. Like, hell, I would say this applies to spread shooters with their Mod Y, but only Chen 2 has that right now, despite the fact that the latest member of that group released the same patch as that branch and still got the Mod X treatment, and well, that's a whole other fucking basket of fruits. Look, my point is, well, let me just end it like this, okay? I love Lola the Purgatory design, and I think she did the Mod X trait real justice with what she had, but I can understand the dislike for her due to the current state of Splashcaster modules. I feel like if Lava Ultra had current Mod X, but also had 8 less DP costs, she would be more popular in a more caster focused rosters, because then she would be like a good caster sub DPS that also kind of helps everyone else. But when you are DP more expensive than someone like, let's say, Viphaza with her Mod Y, or even Harmony, if I'm going to be using 5-star casters with a focus on AoE dot chaff control, I think it's pretty hard to justify her. I mean, just ask the Chaincaster fans if you want to make an Astrogen fan cry, because they just got it as hard as us Mod X Splashcaster fans.